I think it was, I credit the Bulls, honestly. I mean, there were some careless possessions, like there always is in a 48-minute game, but, the way they defend, they gamble. You know what I mean? And, they're going to gamble all over the floor, and they're either going to force a turnover or give up a backside three. You know what I mean? So, it's just the nature of how they play. Credit them for playing extremely hard, but, we did enough to get the W.
It's Frank Vogel, head coach of the Suns. Yesterday, that audio from the Twitter/X account of Dwayne Rankin, Suns beat writer for AZ Central in the Arizona Republic, talking about what a lot of people have been talking about for 8 games now with the Suns, and that is turnovers. They overcome them last night. They made things a lot more difficult on themselves on the turnover front, 22 of them leading to 30 points for the Chicago Bulls, but the Suns win 116-115.
How much of that do you think is not having a true point guard?
A lot of it.
Well, that's something that's not ever going to be fixed then. Because while they will have more ball handlers when Booker comes back and Beal gets comfortable, they're never going to have a true point guard.
Very true. As currently constructed, they will not have that. But also as currently constructed without Devin Booker on the floor, their best facilitator in those late game situations is Devin Booker, in my opinion. He's turnover prone. He's never going to lead the league in assist to turnover ratio, that's for sure, but they're not fully whole. But I think, to your point, Jarrett, and Steve, you can chime in on this too, I think it's really hard to watch the Suns right now, especially, and you heard Frank Vogel mention those careless possessions. It's hard not to consider that. They are the only team in the league that doesn't have a quote-unquote true point guard. The closest they have is Jordan Goodwin.
It was always going to be a bit of an experiment, and it doesn't help that Bradley Beal is coming off of a back injury, and he hasn't had time to really gel with his team yet, and Devin Booker now being out. I just think, particularly at the end of the game, and that's usually the time of the game that I look at to really get an idea of what is this team in the clutch moments. And at the end of the game, when everybody in the building knew the ball was going to be in Kevin Durant's hands because he was on the court and Bradley Beal wasn't for a lot of the end of the game, and then Devin Booker obviously not playing, everyone knew that Kevin Durant was going to get the ball on every possession. So all you would see Chicago do is they were doubling him before he even got the ball. Let's just surround Kevin Durant, and we feel pretty confident that nobody on the opposing team is going to step up and run this offense without Durant. And so, that shows you how important it is for you to have multiple of your big three available.
Yeah, and this team, let's face it, they are under a microscope right now because of the way that they are constructed. This is a super team. Even if you don't like the use, the construction of super teams or the use of the phrase super team, this is what they are.
Yeah,
that's the perception around the league. So I think there's a lot of people with an interested eye on what the Suns are doing. 8 games in, they're back to 500. They're coming off a winning road trip. I think those are all positive things. But individually speaking, I think you can say Kevin Durant has been outstanding so far. I think if we were going to rank players on how they've performed through those 8 games from the guys that have been there, Grayson Allen might be the Suns' second best player.
He led the team in scoring last night.
He was fantastic.
Took a lot of shots, some open, some not, but he took a lot of big boy three-pointers last night that I was pretty impressed with.
I mean, we've only seen 2 games from Devin Booker. He's been outstanding in both, but again, only 2. We've seen only 23 minutes of action from Bradley Beal. You mentioned it earlier in the show. The Eric Gordon experience has been an up-and-down one.
Hit or miss, literally.
Yeah, certainly down last night. Nurkic has been up and down. I like the insertion of Keita Bates-Diop into the starting lineup. I think that's paid dividends.
Do you think he stays there when Booker comes back? Or do you think Grayson Allen's
Grayson Allen will probably be the guy to go back to the bench.
Grayson Allen is more athletic than I realized.
Yes.
That's something I've quickly learned.
And he's a lot stronger than you think he is,
There was one play in particular. I think he had the steal, and he's on a breakaway, and he could have passed to a teammate, and I don't remember who it was. So forgive me. But instead of the pass, he decided to go to the rim himself, and I was like, oh, this could be bad.
Yeah.
And he threw it down. And I know that's one play, right? But Grayson Allen can do a lot of things offensively. He's not one of those 3-and-D guys that he's just a shooter.
Yeah. Eubanks didn't play a lot last night, I think, as a backup center. He's one of the better options in the league. I like the way he plays. He's a sturdy guy. Sneakily athletic. I like what he brings to this team. But, and I brought this point up before, a lot of those guys, the newer guys, even some of the holdovers, just kind of searching for what their role is going to be and what their comfort level is going to be. Yuta Watanabe, again, last night, hit 2 of 5 from three-point range. You'll take 40%. That's the way he was advertised. Wow, 40%, 44% on quarter threes.
Right.
But he again looked to me like he was pressing again last night.
I think that we all got so excited about the pieces added in the offseason and there were so many of them, right?
Yes.
Because you really retooled the entire roster outside of Durant and Booker. And we got so excited about, Eric Gordon's one of the best shooters in the league. Yuta just had such a great play in the tournament. And, we had all these other pieces. I love Bates Diop. And we forgot to realize that they all can't play every night.
Well, and you used a key phrase right there. All the pieces that they added. That's what they are right now. They're still pieces.
Yeah. Individually, I like pretty much everybody that they added plays a partial role. Hey, shout out to Bol Bol for his 1/10 of a second of playing time last night, by the way.
He did fantastic while he watched the ball go over his head and almost lose the game for the team.
But, he earned that half a second.
Can we get into that play, too, that aspect of the play?
Sure.
Because both on the radio broadcast with Bloomer and Tim Kempton and the television broadcast with Eddie Johnson and K-Ray, they both made the same point. You're bringing Bol Bol in there, but it's an out-of-bounds play with 1/10 of a second to go. Instead of having him guard the inbound where he has to give ample room for the inbounder to throw the ball, you put a guy like that, there's no goaltending, there's no defensive goaltending. The ball comes near the rim, just get up there and swat it away.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
It's like when you put the tall wide receiver on a Hail Mary play to defend and just knock the ball down.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, why else are you bringing him in? Anyway, whatever. They won. But, yeah. Bol Bol is one of those guys that exists as an all-star in theory, but has done nothing to prove that he could ever. Like, he is every fan.
Go back. An all-star in theory.
Well, what I mean is that, like, the way fans talk about his potential, it's all that, his entire career.
The lore, Bol Bol lore.
That's
the lore,
perfect
exactly.
word for it. Because he's like in every arena he goes to, he's got a fan base.
I mean, he's barely played this season in a season where the Suns have had already a bunch of injuries and not the greatest depth at center anyway.
It exists in a vacuum, though. Like, it's in a scenario that's perfect for Bol Bol to succeed. Like, he's great. He can do literally everything, and he'd be great in a limited role on an awesome team. It's like, that's a lot of ifs.
Just what, like 3 days ago, they were saying, Wembanyama, well, he's no Bol Bol, or whatever,
Yeah, we played that on Monday. Isaiah
Paraphrasing.
Thomas made that comment, and Isaiah Thomas is, he said that he believes Bol Bol is the best ball handler and passer on the Suns during the Pistons game. No. And it raised eyebrows, and I obviously called foul on that one.
I could probably name multiple at each of those two
But
things.
there's a lot of people that kind of equate, because of the size similarity, Wembanyama and Bol Bol is the same player. All due respect to Bol Bol, it's just not the case.
Yeah, and I'm not looking to slam on Bol Bol here, but that's the wave of the future for the center position in the NBA is you've got all these guys who are 7'2", 7'3", or bigger, and they can do the thing. I mean, Kevin Durant is that guy 10, 15 years ago, right? Like, he is that guy who's almost 7 feet tall.
He's never been 7'3", though.
Well,
when you're talking about an extra 4 or 5 inches with that skill.
Right. Let him grow.
For goodness sake.
Let him evolve a little.
He just needs a Kuminga growth spurt to get up to 7 feet overnight.
But there's plenty of guys who are that. They're 7'3", and they can do everything, and they don't have great NBA careers. Like, there's a bunch of examples of that. So
I don't know how many there are.
I mean,
7'3" guys that have that skill set?
I don't know about 7'3", but there's a lot of, like, big guys who come out of Europe in particular who have all that. Look at Dragan Bender is one of them for me. Remember when Earl Watson talked about playing Dragan Bender as the point guard?
Yeah, I never saw any of that in Dragan Bender, and I watched pretty closely.
Yeah. Darko Milicic comes to mind. I mean, like, there's big guys who can handle the ball, and they just don't have a great career.
True.